Jahjahhennyreacts, and welcome to the very first episode of The Movies That Queered Me, a series where I talk about all the films that gave me all the queer realizations and the queer feelings. And today we are starting with one of my favorite movies, Bend It Like Beckham. So the movie opens with some football announcers excitedly describing David Beckham's plays during a football game. But wait a second. There's a girl playing. We see Beckham pass the ball to a woman who scores the goal to the announcer's excitement. Jess Bomber is playing right alongside the David Beckham. Could Jess Bomber be the answer to England's prayers? I don't know. I also didn't know that women played with men in Major League Soccer. Oh wait, it's just a daydream our main character is having. That much is clear as Jess Minder's mother shows up, scolding the men, praising Jess for her soccer skills in her daydream. Jess is watching football on TV when her mother bursts into the room, shutting off the TV and demanding that Jess participate in her big sister's prenuptials. So within the first 3 minutes or so of the film, we already know exactly what it's about and the conflict we're about to experience. Jess Minder's sister Pinky is upset because some stupid cow chose the same color she wanted and now she has to go shopping again. Jess Minder is not the shopping type, okay? She does not care about that mess. She just wants to watch and play football. But alas, her mother sends her and her sister out, demanding that they bring back some items from their shopping trip for her as well. The girls head out on the town and we see that they live in Hounslow, London. I really enjoyed seeing them out and about. It was very lively, very colorful, and this movie made me want to visit this particular part of England super bad. Pinky spots some of her homegirls at the shoe store and it's clear that they are actually frenemies as Pinky expresses her frustration that she can't wear the blue contacts she got because one of the girls is already wearing hers. You know how some people always want to be the first ones with some new stuff? That's very much Pinky's vibe. We then see a different family, a mother and a daughter in a bra shop with the mother insisting that her daughter wear a pump-up bra because she ain't got no boobies for real. Which is fine. We love small boobies. Big boobies, medium-sized boobies, small boobies. They're still boobies. Just spots a friend named Tony who's out shopping with his mother. They discuss the upcoming wedding and his mother expresses her desire for her son to get married soon as well. But give the boy time. He literally just finished school. Parents put so much pressure on their kids at such a young age. It's so ridiculous. Later, Jess is on her way home through the park and sees some buddies playing ball, including her buddy, who encourages her to stop and play for a little bit, which she does. We get a first look at her skills and the girl is talented. And then we see the short-haired girl from earlier watching, clearly liking what she sees. In more ways than one, you know what I'm saying. Jess gets home and she talks to her Beckham poster and tells him that it's just not fair that she can't play whenever she wants just because she's a girl. Her daddy comes in and he teases her a little bit about her football posters and it's clear that they have a pretty cute relationship. He's not so hard on her about football as her mother is. Jess is participating in the engagement party for her sister at their home and is annoyed at the older women expressing their wants for her to marry soon as well. And Jess is like, F all that, I'm trying to ball out. Plus, she's literally like 18. I think she just finished with high school or whatever the equivalent is in England. I don't understand why people are always so pressed to get their kids married off so quickly. Like, they haven't even lived yet. But the party does look fun and everyone's dressed so beautifully and the food looks so good. I would have been there eating everything, to be honest with you. I just would have been in the kitchen. We see Jess playing soccer again in the park as our sister's frenemies watch from the sideline, oogling the men. I just want to say, they are very easily impressed. Jess calls them sluts and goes back to the game, and the girls spot the same white girl from earlier watching Jess. This is some gay ass shit. The girl comes up and she compliments Jess on her game and suggests that she try out for her football team, the Hounslow Harriers, a local women's amateur football team. The boys make fun because they're a bunch of losers whose skills only allow them to play in the park, but Jess is clearly very interested. We find out that the other girl's name is Jules, short for Juliet. Juliet, Jess Minder, Jules, Jess. I mean, it sounds like a match made in heaven to me. Look, if they didn't want this movie to make us all gay, then why do they keep having the girls look at each other like that? I swear, it's queer bait to the max. Next, we see the girls team practicing, and I have dibs on the black girl with the ponytail. I just think she is so fine. Jess is clearly nervous and meets the team coach for the first time, an Irish man named Joe, who is a bit of a hard ass. Expected for a football coach, to be honest. Expected for a coach, period. Coaches, period, are just hard asses. He's not really impressed at how unprepared Jess is, but that'll soon change. Kind of. he's kind of a hard ass the whole movie. Jess, and Jules chat after practice, and we find out that the coach was actually injured, and that's how he ended up coaching the women's team. Joe thinks Jess is good enough to come back and join the team, and we see that Jules is definitely into him. But she also seems like she's into Jess. I'm just so confused. Jess Mender's talking to her poster again, trying to figure out how she's going to tell her parents that she wants to play football professionally. Meanwhile, Jules is practicing her football skills out back with her wonderful dad when her pick-me mom comes outside, upset that she's more focused on football than finding a man. Girl, she's 18. She's 18. Let the girl play sports. Eventually, Jess does come back to play for the team, and Joe gives her the uniform, or kit. I like kit better. I think kit is more fun. Get your kit on. Get your kit on. You like say it's like so much easier to say too. It's only one syllable. Kit, kit, kit. Oh, I love British slang. Jess isn't super excited to put it on and asks if she can wear her tracksuit bottoms instead, but Joe says absolutely not. So she heads to the locker room with all the girls, and I mean, do I even have to say it? A locker room full of women soccer players? That's some gay shit. The captain, Mel, is very happy that Jess has joined the football team, and I am too, because Mel is fine as hell. She fine. She fine. She fine, okay? The girls are on the pitch warming up when Joe spots Jess sitting in the stands in her uniform. We find out that Jess is a bit insecure about her body because she experienced a really bad injury burning her leg as a child, which left her with a huge scar. Joe encourages her by showing off his own scar and tells her that while she's out there, no one's gonna care about that. I really love this scene because not only is it the moment that I found out what beans on toast was, and I definitely tried to make it myself, but personally didn't see the appeal, but because I also really love how sweet Joe was, helping just shake that fear of people seeing her scar. I thought it was just a really great chat that they had, and it works because Jess gets her butt on the field and shows out. I gotta pause really quick and just say that the soundtrack for this movie is off the chain. The track that's playing over the practice montage, She's a Lady, is so much fun. Jess shows up to the local park in her new uniform to tell her buddy Tony that she made the team, and the rest of the guys make fun of the burn on her leg, but no longer worried about that. Just lets them know that she can still beat them anywhere, anytime. They start playing around until her mother walks by. This is a really small neighborhood. I swear, every time someone's in the park, I know it's a movie, but it's like every time someone's in the park, everybody's in the park. Everybody's always in the park at the same exact time. Her mother says she was married at Jess's age and Jess doesn't even want to learn how to cook dal. One of the most iconic lines in this movie, for real. Jess tells her parents that she joined this team and her mom is not impressed. She doesn't want her daughter playing football, period. And we see a bit of colorism as her mother complains about how dark Jess has gotten from playing out in the sun all day. I hate that on top of the fact that her mom doesn't support her, she also has to deal with these colorist remarks. You know, I'll never understand it myself because my mom was the complete opposite. I mean, y'all see how light I am. Well, when I was born, I was even lighter. So much so that when my mom saw me, she told the doctors to put me back in because I wasn't done yet. I'm not joking. She literally said that. I can't believe my mom roasted me the second I came into this world. Like, that is so rude. But also, she was so real for that. Jess's mom is too preoccupied with her finding a husband and insists she learn how to cook so she can be a proper wife. Jess's mom is really funny, but she's also super traditional, which is not fun at all for people like me who are not. And also clearly people like Jess. Her dad eventually and reluctantly agrees with his wife and tells Jess that she must focus on her future, and that future does not include soccer. Now, on one hand, I can understand a parent encouraging their child to focus on school or work because the likelihood of them making it as a professional athlete is really not that high. But that's not what's happening here. Jess's mom is very clear. She wants Jess to focus on finding a husband, and I don't think it's fair to put that kind of pressure on her at such a young age. Of course, most 18-year-olds don't know what they want to do with the rest of their life either, but that's why we should give them the time and the space to figure things out. Jess is very upset, and she complains to Tony that what her parents are doing is just so unfair. She's been such a good child, never stepping a toe out of line, unlike her sister, but because her sister wants a traditional wedding and life that Jess doesn't, Jess feels that she's being unfairly picked on, and I agree. The girl isn't doing anything wrong. She just wants to play football. Jess says anyone could cook aloo gobi, but who can bend the ball like Beckham? And oh my God, that is another one of my favorite lines in this movie because it's a play on the title, and I don't care if it's cringe. I love it when movies do that. Tony's like, girl, just play and don't tell them. Your sister been all this time behind your parents' back. You can play football behind their back. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, he ain't wrong. Jules shows up to the park and just tells her that unfortunately she's not going to be able to play for the Hounslow Harriers. Jules tells her that an American scout is coming to the games and just to tell her mom that she got a summer job to get her off her back. She then mistakes Tony as Jess's boyfriend and they are quick to tell her that is so not what's going on. That combined with the way that Jules is looking at Jess in this scene, this movie gay as hell. But Jess does follow through with her plan to tell her parents that she managed to find a job so she can continue to play football on the DL. And we get a fun little montage of her getting to the pitch while the song Move On Up by Curtis Mayfield plays. Another iconic track in this movie. Not gonna lie, I def had a crush on Jess too. And her sister. And the captain, as I previously stated, you know, I mean, it's giving... During this montage, we get a glimpse of Joe and Jules hugging, and it seems like the whole team knows about her crush, which is messy. The scene includes cuts of Jess learning how to cook, and I really wanted some of that aloo gobi for real. I want some right now. I honestly might order some Indian food after I film this. I am not joking. We see a car rocking at the airport parking lot. It's Pinky and her fiance, and they being nasty. Clearly, she is not abiding by her parents' rules either. Jasminder is in the locker room with her teammates, talking about how her family's super traditional and that Indian girls aren't supposed to play football. My wife, Mel, utters the line, "Blimey, that's not on." And I swear, first time I heard her say that, I was ready to pack my bags and move to England. Y'all have such fun slang. I'm not gonna lie, I do be using it sometimes, and probably wrong too. Jess tells her teammates that she is expected to marry a nice, respectable Indian man. Definitely not white. For sure not black. And Muslim? Forget about it. Jasminder says it's her culture and it's better than sleeping around with a bunch of boys she's not going to marry anyway, right? But some of her teammates disagree with that statement. Slags. Did I use it right? Jasminder hides her football gear in the bushes before heading back inside after practice. And I just want to say really quick, their home looks super, super comfy. Like, I want to take a nap on their couch. Jess's mom asks her where her sister is because she was supposed to pick her up from work. This worries Jess, thinking that her cover has been blown. Thankfully, her sister covers for her and asks if she's been seeing a boy, but she's disappointed when she discovers that she's just been playing football. I don't know why she thought anything else was going. Girl, you know your sister. You know your sister. You know all her ass was doing was playing football. Jess is clearly conflicted, not wanting to disappoint her family, but she has to follow her dreams. We get another iconic line as Jess and her sister are getting measured for their chulies. Her sister wants hers tight and hot, but her mother thinks it's too tight and rude, which I thought was really funny. Jess is being measured for hers and states she wants hers more loose and comfy. Her mother complains about that too. This woman is never satisfied. She's like, girl, who is gonna notice you in a sack? The designer tells her not to worry because with their designs, even they could make her mosquito bites look like juicy, juicy mangoes. Delicious. Jess scams her mom out of some money, saying that she needs it to buy shoes for the wedding. But secretly, she went to buy some new football cleats while out on a date with Jules. Yes, I called it a date. That's what it was. I don't care. They look like a couple, and Jules is clearly the taller butch girlfriend, and I shipped it, kind of. I mostly ship Jasminder with me, but whatever. Jess gets home, and her mom wants to see the shoes that she bought. She tries to hide the cleats, but her sister takes the bag before she can get them to her room, and her mother sees the shoes and starts to cry. Girl, I promise you, it is not that deep. Jules and Jess are chatting while doing sit-ups at football practice, and I don't know how they were doing that because I cannot work out and talk at the same time. Joe spots them and makes Jess do 5 laps around the pitch as punishment for talking when they're supposed to be working, and I didn't think that was fair at all. Why didn't Jules get the same punishment? I think it's rude. Jess is still running around the pitch after practice is over, and she doesn't even stop when Joe tells her to. She's hurt her ankle a bit, and Joe comes over and takes a look at it as they sit on the field. They have another moment to talk, and Joe reveals that he actually injured himself trying to prove to his dad that he wasn't soft. He doesn't want Jess to end up like him. They're starting to like each other a little bit, but girl, is this inappropriate? How old is this man? We cut to Jess at Jules's house, and they're in Jules's room making out. I'm just kidding. They weren't making out. They were just talking about football and watching TV. Jules is showing Jess women's professional football in America and expresses her desires to play too. Jules encourages Jess to tell her parents about her game because she's just so talented and they should know about it. But her mother walks in and meets Jess for the first time, and her mom is just so ridiculous. She's low-key racist and she wants Jess Minder to get her daughter to be a little bit more like her, thinking she's more traditional. Little does she know, she and her daughter are the same. They're both lesbians. They're not, but they should have been. Jess and Jules are outside laughing in the gayest way I've ever seen about what just transpired during the conversation with her mother, and we see some folks drive by in a car looking at them. Uh-oh. Jules is going on and on about how great Joe is, and I'm like, girl, that is compet. You are gay. Jess gets home and her family's sitting in the living room with the parents of her sister's fiance, and everyone's looking very forlorn. We find out that they saw Jess and Jules outside laughing and assume she was making out with some white boy. See, even they thought they were kissing. Jess is so confused and is like, girl, I was not with no boy. What are you talking about? But eventually figures out that they saw her with Jules and swears she was just being gay with her homegirl. That's not what she said, but that's how I took it, and I won't apologize for it. The whole family's sad now because Pinky's wedding has been called off because of the misunderstanding, and Pinky is pissed. Jess was probably hanging out with some dykey girl from her football team, and she's secretly been playing football this whole time. First of all, Pinky, let's not use slurs, okay? You can't say that word. You were right. So I can't really be like that mad at you, you know what I'm saying? She's still rude as hell for snitching though. Their mom was like, Pinky, shut up, because I know you was fucking that boy too. Both of my daughters are just not shit. This is awful. What did I do? What did I do to deserve this? Nothing. I did everything right. Girl, it's fine. Relax. Relax, Jess Minder and Pinky's mom. I can't remember your name right now, but relax. The decorations for the wedding are taken down, and Pinky argues with her man, cries to her sister, and overall the vibes are just not great in the Bomber household right now, with Jess also missing practice. Joe is worried and speaks to Jules, wondering what's going on, and Jules reveals that Jess's parents didn't know she was on the team, and maybe they found out, and that's why she's not showing up. The family's eating a really delicious meal, and it's making me really hungry when all of a sudden Joe shows up to the crib. He tells Jess's parents that she's a fantastic player and that he had no idea that they didn't know that she was playing. Jess's parents are not having it though, and her father tells Joe that he was discriminated against because of his race and his religion. He doubts that his daughter would ever be welcome to play for real because of the way that Indian men are historically treated in these sports. Joe is talking to Jess afterwards, and he's like, girl, just lie. At this point, look, I get it. Just lie. What they don't know won't hurt them. Not you encouraging bad behavior, sir. I mean, I agree, but He tells her about a game in Germany that they have coming up, and Pinky, being a solid big sister, drives her to the team bus so that she can play. We get another fun montage. This movie is chock full of them for real, of the team in Germany having a good time before their game, which they unfortunately lose after Jess misses a penalty shot. Later, Jess is on the phone lying to her parents as usual, because she's a liar, and her daddy unfortunately sees her in the newspaper. The team had their picture taken for a piece about them heading to Hamburg to play. Ooh, y'all in trouble. Jess is upset because the German team has invited them out clubbing, and Jess is like, girl, I don't even club. Actually, I don't even have anything to wear even. But don't worry, girl, we're gonna figure it out. Jules immediately dials my wife Mel for style help, and Jess steps out looking fine as hell. She fine as hell. She look fine. She fine as hell. Joe definitely notices. Okay. But how old is he? They go to the club and Jules is trying to get jiggy with Joe, but he's like, nah, I am not feeling you, girl. Like, back off. Hop off it. But Jules is persistent, and she gets him on the dance floor to dance to Mel C's I Turn to You. Joe gets more into the dancing as Jess comes over, and I'm like, damn, Jules, take the hint. He ends up leaving her on the dance floor once he realizes that Jess is gone outside. Jess is complaining about the smoke, and Jules' thirsty ass goes out to see what's going on, leaving my wife alone on the dance floor as the song I Wish by Victoria Beckham plays. And yes, it's also in my Apple Music library. That clearly wasn't the song that was actually playing on set though, because everybody's dancing off beat. Jess and Joe are talking, and Jules comes out and watches as Jess leans in to kiss Joe, exclaiming, "You bitch!" before walking away. Jules, he wasn't trying to get jiggy with you anyway. But also, I think it's pretty clear that she had a crush, and I don't know how Jess didn't notice. It's an easy mistake to make, I guess. I can't really be that mad at her. I don't know. I'm not choosing sides. I want the two of them together. I don't care about this man. The team eventually arrives home, and Jess is in deep trouble once again because her parents found out that she lied about her whereabouts. Her sister's in trouble this time too because she was a part of the scheme. Hey man, it's not like she's sneaking off to do an orgy or something. She just playing football. And if she had an orgy with the football team, that's okay too. Everybody's legal. Side note, the Bombers have a Benz and that thing is fire. Great taste in cars. Pinky and Jess are cooking at home and their parents are wondering where they went wrong with their daughters. One be fucking, the other be playing football. The horror girl, the horror. Pinky really wants her man's back and just asks if she thinks her parents would be okay if she brought home a white boy. Hell no! You gonna make our family look a mess, girl, bringing home a white boy. And why would you do that when there's so many good looking Indian boys to date anyway? And I agree, girl. I'm choosing a black or brown person every day of the week. I don't know what Jess's problem is for real. I think I secretly also ship Jess and Mel as well. I think that would even be actually better, as a matter of fact. The song playing over this scene leading into the next is also so beautiful. Once again, banger soundtrack for real. Jess meets up with Joe and finds out that he's interviewing to coach the men's team next year. She wants to clear the air, and Joe says he's already forgotten about their little mishap. He lying, but whatever. Joe wants to know why her parents are so adamant that she can't play football, and just tells him that they're just trying to protect her. And this is so outside of their element. But Joe tells her she can't keep living to please her parents forever. Doing that, she'll only end up living a life that she doesn't want. She's got to live for herself. And I agree. The two of them bond over their parents giving them grief for what they do. Jess tells Joe that he should be proud of coaching. And Joe basically tells her the same thing and asks him, why are you giving up? Jess visits Jules and Jules is depressed. Her mom thinks it's because they lost in Germany, but what she doesn't know is that she actually witnessed an intimate moment between Jess and Joe. Jess tries to apologize, but Jules is not having it, saying she knew Joe was off limits and she knew how Jules felt about him. Her mother overhears their conversation and assumes the two are actually lovers and are having a fight. Ugh. Girl, I wish that were true. Jules' mother ends up breaking down, crying over just breaking her daughter's heart. Mostly upset though because she thinks her daughter is gay. She is. Your daughter is gay. Jules' daddy is like, child, why did I marry this woman? She is so ridiculous. I do not care about any of this shit. You really that surprised that our daughter is gay? Have you seen her hair? That's not what he said. But for me personally, I think that's what he was thinking. Jules' mom is funny as hell though. I'm not gonna lie. She would be annoying to have as a mom, but her talking about it was terrible what they did to George Michael, putting his business in the papers like that. Yeah, that was funny. I did laugh. Tony and Jess are having a chat when Jess is like, you know what? Actually, you wanna go out with me? You wanna go out? I'm cute, ain't I? You wanna go out with me? Let's date. Tony's like, whoa, what the hell you talking about, girl? Jess is like, I need an Indian boyfriend now. She tells Tony that she almost kissed her coach, and Tony's like, T. Jess is like, girl, I know. Tony tells her you can't plan who you fall for, and that is true. They start talking about Beckham, and Tony's like, yeah, I like him a lot. And Jess is like, well, duh, everyone likes Beckham. Tony's like, girl, no, I really like that man. Like, I like that man. I love that man. I love men. I'm gay. Jess is like, how are you gay and Indian? Tony hasn't told anyone, and he's like, I really fuck with you for real. Like, you really my homegirl for real. But I want a husband. Jess Minder's family is going to temple and she's pretending to be sick so she doesn't have to go. And I don't know how at this point they haven't figured out that her ass is lying. Her mom says she gonna pray to God to give her some good sense because her daughter tripping for real. And I did laugh at that as well. I did. But Jess was lying like she always is, and she takes off her robe and heads out to play football. Her family does come back briefly though because her dad forgot something. He calls out to Jess, but she's gone, baby. Jess's guy friends from the park are at her match along with Gay Tony, and they're oogling my wife Mel, commenting on her chest and wondering how she hasn't knocked herself out with them things. She could knock me out with them things all she wants, you feel me? I'm sorry, I can't help it. Gay Tony is like, stop worrying about the titties, we here to watch football, damn it. Anyway, the match is on and the girls start losing immediately. They're not really doing that well, and I'm really worried, y'all. I am. The team dynamic is all off because Jess and Jules still aren't speaking. But you know what's really nice though? Jess Minder's dad is at the game. Yay! I guess he figured out that she was actually not sick at all. He's in the stands clapping and it's so cute. It's really nice to see him support his daughter. It's getting bloody out there and the girls are fighting back and up in the score, but then Jess gets fouled and the girl who fouls her calls her a slur. It's really awful. I would have been ready to whoop her ass, but the ref either didn't hear or didn't care about the slur because he ejects Jess from the game after she fights back. Jess gets yelled at after the game by the coach and I'm gonna need him to lower his damn voice. This is another reason why I wouldn't do well in sports, because you're not finna yell in my face. Then after he yells at her, he starts a cheer with the team because they won. Sir, you could have had words with Jess privately. Why you embarrass her like that and then congratulate the rest of the team? Damn. Jess runs out of the locker room to tell Joe that he's dead ass wrong for talking to her like that. And I agree. I know that's right, girl. She's pouting and she tells him that she was called a slur on the field and that's why she reacted that way. But of course he doesn't understand what that feels like. Then Joe says, Jess, I'm Irish. Of course I understand what that feels like. And they hug. He gets it because as an Irish man living in England, he has had his own issues with the English. They hug, but this was really poor timing because as they're doing so, Jess's dad walks up and sees them. Damn, we were making such good progress. They get home and Pinky's ex-fiance is about to become her fiance again because he and his family are at the Bomber house. Pinky calls her future mother-in-law a stupid cow, and you know, Pinky really does have the best insults, I'm not gonna lie. Also, Archie Punjabi is hot. She's hot. She is hot. So is Parminder, who plays Jess Minder. The mom kind of fine too. Honestly, the whole family fine. Now that the family has reconciled, we can get on to the fun stuff. Unfortunately for Jess though, the wedding is now scheduled for the day of her football final. And her dad tells her she has to be there for her sister. It's not optional. I get that. I mean, it's your sister's wedding, but the football match is also a huge deal. Jess is really going through it. Joe and Jules are chatting at a pub and Jules is pissed. Mostly because she likes Joe, but also because she feels like Joe is screwing around and doesn't really want to coach the women's football team and is just waiting for the opportunity to leave so he can coach the men's team. She also doesn't think the American Scout is ever actually going to show up, but that's when Joe actually breaks the news that the Scout is coming to the final match. This calms Jules down and thank God, because she was doing way too much. I mean, I get it, girl, but like, chill out. Her haircut is so gay. I feel like I haven't said that enough times in this video, but that is the gayest haircut I've ever seen. And how old is Joe? Someone needs to answer me. Jules goes to Jess's house to tell her about the American Scout, but Jess tells her that she's not going to be coming to the match. If this ain't two lovers in a quarrel, I don't know what is. Jess tells Jules that her dad hasn't really spoken to her since the last match after seeing her all hugged up with Joe. She says there's just no way that he'll ever let her go. Jules tells her about the American Scout, but nothing is changing Jess's mind. And they're still kind of fighting as Jess tells her that she's only worried about the Scout seeing them play and doesn't really care about Jess. Jules is over it, so she leaves. No, you guys were supposed to kiss. Jules' dad is trying to teach her mom how to play football using condiments on the table to represent the different football positions. Homegirl is really trying her best. She is. She wants to understand why her daughter loves this game so much, and I think that's actually really cute. She's still trying to get her daughter a husband though. Meanwhile, Jess gets her test results back and she gets really good grades, which is wonderful because now she'll be able to get a really great job. which of course she's not too excited about. Jules tells Joe that Jess isn't coming to the final game, and we see Jess taking down all her Beckham and football posters, deciding it's all over. And I hate that for my girl. But the wedding is on, and everyone is all dressed up and looking good. Jess is there for her sister, but she's not having a good time at all. She looks nice though. We get a montage of the wedding festivities and the team practicing for the big game. And it sucks because Jess really wants to be happy for her sister, but she's definitely throwing herself a pity party. Later on, Joe is being a creep and looking through the windows at the bomber house as Jess's dad comes out and spots him. Joe tells him that an American scout is coming to the final game tomorrow, and that's a really big deal. He doesn't want Jess's talent to go to waste. Jess comes outside as Joe starts to walk away, and her father simply tells her not to play with her future. Jess stops Joe before he can leave and tells him that she's going to be starting school soon and she's not even going to have time for football anymore. Joe tells her it's really a shame because he could see her playing professionally someday. He tells her that the scout was coming to see her as well, not just Jules, and Jess is even more conflicted. Joe doesn't want to give up on Jess, but he ultimately tells her that she's lucky to have a family who loves her and wishes her good luck in her future endeavors. In the bomber house, they getting lit as hell. Like, I wish I was there. I would have been in the middle of the dance circle turning up. They was turning the hell up in that place. Like, I'm not kidding. Someone invite me to their wedding. Finally, it's the day of the wedding and the football match. We see Jules getting ready to head out with her parents, and we see the wedding starting at Jess's house. I have to say, there's so many fun montages in this movie, and I really love this one with the family celebrating at the wedding, contrasted with the football team getting ready for the big game. Later on during the wedding at the venue, Tony starts to drag Jess outside, telling her she still has time to play the last half of the game if they leave now. Jess is resistant until her father gives his blessing, stating that if this is the only way he's gonna see her happy at her sister's wedding, then go play football, girl. Banger soundtrack again as we see Jess getting ready for the game, while Pinky and her new husband hit the dance floor looking like a couple of hotties. Also, I love this song. Banger after banger in this film as the song Darshan by B21 plays over this scene. That is until a whistle blows on a play. Jess joins her team and she and Jules hug it out. Jules' mom sees them thinking what we're all thinking, they being gay together. At the wedding, Jess's mom is looking around for her and is scandalized when she sees a man and woman making out in the bathroom. Girl, don't act like that. We all know how them kids got here. They partying hard as hell at the wedding, and Jess is playing hard at the game until she gets fouled. It's time for another penalty kick, and our girl is nervous. The last one didn't go so well, but this is the final. She has to make this one. We watch as she lines up for the kick with the other players from both teams near the goal. She briefly imagines them as her aunties and her mom and her sister, but quickly gets her head back in the game. She shoots and she scores. Goal! The Hounslow Harriers have won the day, and the team helps Jess get dressed back up for the wedding. Jules' parents are waiting outside for her, and they watch as Jess and Jules hug after speaking to the scout. That hug was very queer, because it totally looks like they kiss, and her mom is having a damn panic attack. Jules is in the car afterward, excitedly talking about how she could get a full scholarship to play football. How fun! Her mother, however, is way too preoccupied worrying about whether or not her daughter is a lessie, blaming the football. Girl, it's not the football, it's the haircut. Jules is heading out to the wedding to meet up with Jess, and her mom is concerned, so she drives her to the wedding. Meanwhile, the wedding photographer is getting his camera stolen. I don't know what he did, so I'm not gonna pick sides. The family is seeing Pinky off as she is now a married woman, and Jules shows up, hugging Jess and kissing her on the cheek. I mean, do I even have to say it? Jules' mom is not having it, and she runs up on the happy couple. I mean friends. They just friends for some reason. She runs up to them, upset that Jess has been all up in that thing. She realizes that Jules has lent Jess a pair of her shoes, and we finally get to my second favorite line in the movie when Jules' mom exclaims, "Get your lesbian feet out of my shoes." That's not the line though, because after that, one of Jess Mender's auntie responds, "Lesbian? Her birthday's in March? I thought she was a Pisces." Iconic. I thought she was a Pisces too, girl. She not though. She a lesbian. I guess she can be both. Another auntie yells from the back, she's not Lebanese. She's Punjabi, girl. The aunties are so scandalized. It's really, really funny. Even though Jules' mom being homophobic, I was laughing the whole time. Pinky tells Jules' mom she ain't gotta go home, but she gotta get the hell up out of here. She pulls her sister into the car and she's like, girl, wait, you're a lesbo? I thought you liked your coach. Girl, there's a word for that. Jess doesn't know what the hell is going on. All she knows is that she wants more out of life and tells her sister that she wants to go to America to play football. Jules' mom is having a nervous breakdown in the damn car and Jules breaks the horrible news that she's straight. Child, I'm just as confused as the mama because between the football and the haircut and the outfits, I thought she was playing for my team too. Jules' mom chills out and she's like, oh, I fuck with the gays for real. Like I do fuck with them heavy. Girl, be so for real. Jess is home with her family and they talking shit about white people, which was funny. And they trying to solve the mystery of why that white lady took Jasminder's shoes. And Jess is having a chat with Tony in the kitchen, wondering how she's going to tell her family that she wants to study abroad and play football. Tony just takes it upon himself to tell the family that he and Jess are in love and want to get married, thinking that this will allow Jess to travel for school and play football, saying that the only condition he has is that Jess be allowed to go to school. A lavender marriage isn't a bad idea, but Jess is like, nah, cut that out. We have to tell them the truth. She tells everyone that she went to her football game and they won. And she's so happy and all she wants to do is play football. She was blessed with these abilities by a higher power and she wants to use them. She tells them she has a great opportunity to go to school and play football and she needs to take it or she'll never be happy. Jess's father sticks up for her, saying that he doesn't want her to make the same mistakes he did. He thinks that she's a brilliant player and says no one has the right to stop her. It's a beautiful moment, and her mom finally concedes that at least she taught her how to cook a full Indian dinner. You gotta take the small wins when you can, girlie. Jess runs to the football pitch and tells Joe that she's going to be able to play football in America. And Joe tells her that since he's not her coach anymore, they can be together, but she stops him from kissing her, and he gets nervous going, your dad's not here, is he? That man is not trying to get caught up being disrespectful again. Jess tells him that they can't be together, that letting her go to America is already a huge step for her parents, and she doesn't know how they'll take the news that she's dating a white guy too. Joe is a sad puppy, but says there's probably not much point since she's leaving the country soon anyway. They hug for the last time as the screen fades to black. We see Jules at the airport with her parents, and she hugs her mom after her mom gifts her a football jersey, showing her full support in her daughter's future endeavors. And I am so happy that they get to leave on good terms. Jess is at the airport with her family as well, and it's really great to see how both families are supporting their daughters, because it is scary sending your kid to another country for school after they've lived under your roof for their entire lives. Jules' dad lets Jess know that they'd better get ready to board the plane, but wait, Joe is at the airport too. He comes running in to tell Jess that he got the job coaching the men's team, but he's turning it down to continue coaching the women's team. They're going to turn pro next year, and that is nuts. Jess tells him that he should tell his dad about this, and he tells her that he already did. Looks like everyone's reconciling with their parents, and I love to see it. Joe says maybe he'll sign Jess after she's finished school, if he can afford it, that is. And she says, in your dreams. And Joe tells her that even with the distance and her family, they might be able to still give it a shot. They finally kiss, and we're interrupted when Jules sees David Beckham in the airport being swarmed by paparazzi. Jess and Joe were just making out behind everyone's back, which is kind of funny. Like, how did no one notice what was going on? And Jess tells Joe that she'll be back for Christmas break and they can talk to her parents about their relationship then. Seriously though, how old is he? The girls finally head out to catch their flight as Joe, Tony, and their family watches on. And we end the movie with a few shots of Jules' parents receiving a sweatshirt from Jules with the name of their school on it, and Pinky putting up a photo of the girls' football team in America on the mantle in the living room. She turns around revealing that she's pregnant and her mother is knitting a little something for the baby. You can tell she's super excited to become a grandparent, and I'm happy for her. We end the movie seeing that Joe is outside playing cricket with Jasminder's dad, showing us that their relationship has straightened out too, and all is well. We get some really fun outtakes and a cute little sing-along reminiscent of the ending of Bring It On as the cast sings along to another bop, and it's just super cute. The aunties are playing football, the men have their shirts off, everything is right in the world. This movie came out in 2002, and it was one of the many movies my mom got for my brother and I to watch because we played soccer in our youth. And so we had pretty much every movie ever made about the sport in our media library. I loved this movie as a kid, and it was one of the movies that made me realize that I was queer. I didn't really have any exposure to anything LGBTQ, so while I knew I didn't like boys, I didn't exactly know that I actually liked girls instead. Between Tony being a closeted gay man to Justin and Jules constantly being mistaken as lesbians, the movie was hella gay. And even though Jules and Just don't end up in a relationship at the end, they still end up together, traveling to another country to start a new life together. And ain't that the gayest thing? This movie is full of nostalgia for me, and to this day, I have a never-ending crush on Jess, Pinky, and Mel. I say these characters and the actors who played them were definitely some of my first girl crushes. I'm very grateful to the creators of this film because it's one of my favorite movies to this day, and I'll always look back on it as one of the movies that queered me. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're still here, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like on this video, but only if you liked it. And if you want to see more content just like this or better and definitely not worse, you could always subscribe and hit that bell so you get notifications every single time I post. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Bend It Like Beckham. Was this a movie that also gave you queer realizations? And are there any other movies that made you feel the same way? For me, Bend It Like Beckham was the very first movie that gave me the realization that, oh, I think I actually like girls. And I will always appreciate this movie for that. It may have been the first, but it definitely wasn't the last, as you will see as we continue this series. Also, I heard that they're actually planning on doing a Bend It Like Beckham too. And I really, really hope that they're able to bring the original cast back because I would love to see what the characters are up to now. And honestly, I really hope that the creators of this movie know that this movie touched a lot of people, not just people who were watching it for soccer or for the culture, but there were a lot of people like me who had their queer realization while watching this film. And I'll always be grateful to this film and the creators and the actors and everyone who had a part of it for that. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will catch you in the next one.